So the first thing I was going to show you how to do was to make your own paintbrush. And this is an idea I got from Caroline Ross, who does beautiful work making marks with nature. Can't get this flat. Hopefully it's okay. And all you need is some. I'm using Scots pine here to make the brush of my natural nature brush, but you can use anything. You could use feathers. You could use hair. I mean, all sorts. Grasses I've used before. And this is a little twig of elder that when I was pruning an elder tree, I took off. It's great thing about elder is it's soft in the middle. And then you just need a skewer or a tent peg or something like that to push down into the middle. And then you can take a few little needles from your Scots pine, push them into that gap as far as you can. Might take a couple more actually. Let's see if I can squeeze some more in. Ooh. Or maybe not. Do more together. And then once you've got a brush that you like, and you can change these, you can pull it out and put something else in as well. Grab a little bit of twine or string or something like that, cord, and just secure it on by wrapping it around the stem, the handle of the brush, and then also securing in the bristles too. And that should help to keep it in place. So I haven't paid much attention as to which direction these are all facing. Would have been better if they were slightly more uniform, but anyway. And then I will tie a knot here, and you have yourself a natural paintbrush made of things foraged. So then let's start playing with the paints. I'm going to use some green paint. Where did I put my water? And I'll use slightly larger brush. This one. So mix up the paint. This is very much slow TV, so enjoy. And yeah, there'll be a recording up as well soon. I always have a few colours that I just love using, and one of them is this indigo from Winsor & Newton watercolour. There we go, that looks better. Okay, so I'm just going to have a play now. So I'm just going to make marks with it, see what marks this brush comes up with. I think I might need more water. Very faint. I wonder if that's because I didn't pay much attention to how the bristles kind of came together. What I could do is maybe add another little tie at the top there to pull them together a bit. Interesting mark, because I don't know if you can see, it very much feels like a windy day outside. I'm going to try just putting a little twine around here and seeing if that just helps bring the bristles together a little. And the other option is you could push them in more into the elder twig and see if that helps with the marks. Yes, it's all about having a little play. I do find with with when I draw with leaves in particular, they're very water resistant, of course, so that if when it rains, all the water runs off them. And so it can be hard when you're using watercolours to load them up enough. Oh, that's quite fun, doing little taps. Make it look a little bit like tree-like. I'll try to see if I can make it look a little bit like a Scots pie. I might not be able to. This is the trouble of doing things live, isn't it? It may not always work out as you'd like it to. You can edit when you put things online. When you're doing it live, you can't. This is quite vulnerable. Water. I painted using one of these with mud recently, and it worked really well. Somehow the watercolour is more of a challenge. Getting there. I'm making these like, the bunches of Scots pine has almost like lots of little canopies in it. So I love their scratchiness. And you could, just using a stem here, try and bring them together. Where it was falling down. Interesting effect. I'm just adding in a little bit of darker paint as I make marks here. I want that one bigger. Hopefully you can kind of see what I'm doing here. That's just playing around, making marks. I was wondering if I could do a whole load of more abstract ones like this that you could then use them as gift tags. If you cut out like a little section of it, I think that would look quite cool. Say it's made with the Scots pie. I was also going to show you how I make some paint, which this is also, I'm experimenting live. Not the best idea, is it? At least you can see into my process, and that is the point of these sessions. And hopefully give you permission to play a bit as well. And, things sometimes won't work out, and that's okay. So I'm going to go and make a little bit of paint using some bronze powder, which I've been wanting to make paint from for ages. So let's see if this works, shall we? So this is and then I was going to use the Scots pine brush to make some marks with that as well. This is, that way around. Schminke Bleichgold, it's called, pale gold. So it's from bronze. It's bronze powder. This is a glass ink printing tray. I don't know what you call it. Mat. But you can also just use like a glass placemat, just on the glass. And this is called a Muller. which helps to bind the binder to the pigment. So I've only just started making my own wood. We're making my own watercolours. It's a lot of fun. So I'm just going to put a little bit of binder. This is a mixture of, I think, honey, water, and some gum arabic. And a little bit of this powder. Mix it together. That looks nice, doesn't it? Then this glass Muller is meant to just help it bind even more. And apparently it's when the sound starts, hope you can see okay. When the sound starts to be less noisy, that's when you know it's all been bound together. Oh, there we go. So yeah, I've been doing this with some earth pigments that I've selected from various places, from a garden and a river, and making some earth paints. This is one of them actually from the river. It was an experiment. It's very tiny. But yeah, so this is the method I use. And then usually I use the scrapers for making cakes, like getting all the cake batter out. I use that. I forgot to bring it with me in here. Still use kitchen. Then you scrape it all back to the middle. And you can go right through with this Muller again, just to get it really nice and smooth together. Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to ask away. Where are these hairs coming? Obviously, I haven't done a very good job of cleaning in here. So let's see what it looks like with using the Scots pine brush with this gold watercolour paint I've just made. I really love gold. I've used it in quite a few different pieces, particularly in the Rivers and Truers artwork collection, because I was reading about how the silt in rivers, how important that is to nourish the soil, especially after floods. Floods are so devastating, but then the river leaves behind this lovely silt, which is full of nutrients, and that helps helps things to grow. So I was thinking of golden silt. So there's a series called Golden Silt. Okay, so normally I would then scrape this into some little palettes. Could be a little shell, or maybe even an acorn cap, which is really cute. You can put them in acorn caps. And all, forage that don't need to go buy stuff, which is nice. Okay, I'll put that to one side, and I'm going to try loading my brush, seeing what this looks like on the page. So again, I'm just going to have a play, see what marks come of it. Oh, I like that. See if you can find the two. I thought it might look quite festive. You see the green and the gold together. Along around. There we go. A little feeling. And a few bits of it. Not sure I like this tree really, but anyway, it's quite fun to have a go. See what comes of it. If I add a bit of water. Have a look, shimmers around the page. That's quite nice as well. Okay, so I'm going to try now on some. I've had a go at playing with both paints and the brush. I might even, you can even just take a twig, right, and just dip that in like that. I might try that with this one, see if it's any like thicker. Just sort of play with that. Still very water resistant. Interesting. What I might do, I'm just going to add some more colour to my green here. I remember going to the Tate Gallery and seeing a piece by Li Fan, who took a brush and in one single breath, it was a huge canvas, brushed from the top to the bottom. So I wonder what that would look like. Very straight with things, isn't it? They're quite. Oh, it makes me think of really long roots. Yeah, Scots pine in there. Only native pine here in the UK, and it's the national tree of Scotland. It's really good for ship building. That's what it was used for in the past, making sailing ships. And there's some evidence to suggest that Druids may have used Scots pine in the winter solstice festivals that they held by hanging lots of shiny objects into the Scots pine as a way of recognizing the divine light and the return of the sun. Okay, so now I'm going to add in some of the gold. I think I might use this thinner brush for that. See how that interacts. I like how it spills. I don't know how much you can see on your mic. How it all comes into one another. This reminds me also a bit of the mud spill paintings I do down by the river, where I cover a big piece of watercolour with mud and then pour water down it and watch where the water makes little channels. Try and direct it a little bit, but mostly it's it's river water as well. So this, I think you could definitely like cut a little segment from it. You could either use them as Christmas cards, if you painted it that way, maybe fold it in half. Or you can use them as gift tags or something like that. And you would have had a little play. And when that dries, that should There we go. Hopefully be quite shimmery. Lovely. So I'm going to leave that to one side, but I'll just, before I move on to the next one, demonstrate what I mean. So I've got quite a few experiments like this that I do in the studio, and I hate I'm never going to use them as artworks, and I hate just throwing them away. So what I've been doing is creating little A6 postcards from them. And that's why I thought it could be quite fun to make little gift tags with them as well. So you could just cut a section out, one that you like, section you like. Put a little hole in there. And that's quite a cool abstract gift tag you can use. And the best thing about it is we'll have allowed you to have a little play with nature. So that was one thought I had. What else was I going to do with you? Oh, yes. I was going to have a play with making some night sky paintings using salt. So at the moment, it's Gemini's Meteor Shower, which we're exploring in my paid Substack subscription. This is salt on some ink. You kind of see the effect it has. Yeah, so in the Wild Enchantment Club, we're exploring the Geminid Meteor Shower, which is happening at the moment. This weekend is its peak. So if you have the luxury of clear skies, go and have a look. And this is a night sky piece I did a long time ago. And there is some salt on there to create these little pools of clarity in the dark watercolour. So I thought, in an ode to the Geminid Meteor Shower, we could have a play with making some starry night skies. Oh dear, got stuff. And I'm going to use my indigo again. And I've also got this lovely paint that my parents brought back for me from Erfurt, which is a town in Germany, in East Germany, where my dad grew up. And it's made from woad. And apparently Erfurt was very famous for its woad. So it's a really special one, that one. One of those ones that I really want to use, but also get scared to use because I want to use it well, rather than just allow myself to play. So this is me trying to allow myself to play with it. And the first thing you do is to just paint a page. It's got sparkles in it. You probably might not be able to see that, but the sparkles from the gold paint is now in my watercolour water, and it's getting into everything. So first of all, you just paint this is a bit of scrap paper, your watercolour. I've got really thick watercolour paper here, 300 grams per square metre. I think it's Hanemüller vegan card watercolour paper. I think it's cold pressed. Still trying to learn about all the different types of paper. I just load it up as much as you can with pigment, with paint. It's as dark as you can get it. And then you get your salt. This is just Malden salt, sea salt. Sprinkle it on top. And you can start to see that the salt repels the water. And then as it dries, that will then leave little star-like patterns, like whiter patterns on the page. So let's have a look at it again at the end of the session and see what's happened. I was also quite tempted to put some gold in there as well, but just don't overdo it. Right. The next thing I wanted to show you. So once that's dried, I think that would make lovely gift tags or cards as well. So the last thing I wanted to show you was some, and this is a real experiment because I've not made this before, was some Sloe ink. Ink from some Sloe berries that my daughter and I collected, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, and I've had in the fridge for a while. I was wondering whether to make some sloe jelly with it, but we didn't collect enough really to do that. So I dipped this piece into the ink just before our live session, and you can see it's actually starting to go a bit purple. It looks really pink, but it's starting to go purple on the page. So it'll be interesting to see how it changes. And natural inks are like that. I think Khan John, who does a lot of you can find on Substack, a publication's called Inklings, I think. They call inks fugitive because they change on the page and you don't know quite how they're going to react with other things you add to them. But yeah, so all I've done with the sloe berries is pop them in some water on the stove, mashed them a bit with the back of a fork, heated it for 5 minutes to bubbling, and then left it in the water to cool a little. I actually had to add a little bit more water because the mushiness of the sloes kind of soaked it all up. And it's created this quite opaque liquid. I will also add to this liquid some gum arabic, which you can buy from art stores. It doesn't need much. You can also use honey, I think. And egg white, obviously, was used for a long time. So maybe 3 drops there. And this just helps the ink bind to the page, I believe. So let's have a see what this ink looks like on the page. I might, after our live, actually oil it down a little bit further so it's an even stronger colour. But can you see how beautiful and pink it is when you first put it on? Be interesting to see how it changes as it dries. Now, this is a bit of an experiment. So I bought a whole load of these ceramic baubles and I'm going to paint them and give them as gifts. But I wondered what would happen if I dipped one in the Sloe ink and then maybe used my Scots paintbrush to put on some of the gold. Let's see. It might be an awful mess, but let's see what happens. So I'm going to switch these around. I'm going to put all the ink in here so I can dip in my sticks. You might need to do several rounds of this actually and see. You could then get some quite interesting layers, couldn't you? Oh, that's one layer. It's very pale. I think what I might do is leave this to dry, and then do it again. And then you might get some cool layers building up. And yeah, I was wondering what it would look like if I could then add in some little dots of the gold paint. Can't find the camera. There we go. Anyway, good fun to have a play. And you can already see it's starting to go quite purple, the ink, rather than bright pink on the bauble. I'll put that on a cup to dry there. I'll take some photos and post them in the notes later so you can see what they look like. But yeah, the inks are just so lovely to play with, and you can add in. Oops. You can add. Should have washed my brush. You can add in other watercolours with them to see what they look like when you mix with other watercolours. You can make other natural inks and add them in and see how they all blend together. And often I don't really do much. I sort of let them do their own thing. So I'll put them on the page and then leave them for a bit and see what happens. So this is with some blue watercolour in it now because I didn't wash my brush. And you can even add in the salt there as well. I know. So I hope this gives you some permission to go and have a play. I'll post the final results soon. This is how the salt pictures a night sky, salty night sky is looking so far. So you can see it's starting to take some of the ink away, salt in the middle there. And then I did think what would look nice is if you did spritz on some gold as well. And yeah, you can make that into a greetings card or into some gift tags like the one I showed you earlier with the Scots pine and the gold. So I'm going to turn you around again. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed playing as well. I hope this gives you some permission to play with nature. And yes, don't forget, if you're watching this live or if you are watching the recording on the day it goes out, that's the 30% discount on my Christmas shop, which has loads of beautiful things on it. Wild journaling course like we've been doing just now. Original artworks at 30% off, which I never do normally. What else is in there? There's some nature guides all about the Scots pine. So you can take it. These are nature guides that you can print out and fold up and then take with you on your walk. And it's got loads of information about the Scots pine, science stories and folklore stories. I'm sorry, this is so wobbly. And you can get one for each season as well. A whole set of 4 of them. And then also 30% off my Wild Enchantment Club, which is my Substack subscription here, where each month you get a monthly Wander Quest and a deep dive podcast into a topic in nature. So at the moment, we're looking at Geminid meteor shower and wishing, the idea of wishing. And I share lots of scientific and folklore stories in the podcast just to deepen your experience of your time outside and turn those really ordinary moments into something extraordinary. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the new year. I'm going to take a break now for a couple 3 weeks or so, and I'll see you in the new year. I'm going to be opening up the Dream Winter Adventure for my year-long program, Rebuild Your Soul. I'm scheduling some emails for that, so if you're on my mailing list, you'll get that. That's a really beautiful experience where we explore the night sky and our own needs for dreaming and stillness and quietness at the beginning of the year. Okay, take care, everybody. Speak to you soon. Thanks for joining me.